This is Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage, your place for all things Wisconsin sports. Now, your host, Trage.
How we doing, everybody, and welcome into Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage, as we come in for the December 10th edition of the show here. I hope you guys are enjoying your Wednesday so far. I hope you guys are enjoying your week better than I am, to be honest with you. The snow is only the tip of the iceberg for the week, right? I think it was Tuesday. On the way to work, I found a deer. With the work van, so I ended up messing up the radiator on that. So now I got a different work van I'm driving around now, not as pristine as my original work van. There, I got the spare one, and the spare one it's rough. It's rough, but I'm thankful that we got work vans driving around. But that's been my week. Hit a deer. Wife had the windshield wiper break on the car on her. It's been a hectic week. And then this lovely snow on top of that. So it's been a week for sure. And that is coming off of a fantastic weekend in Wisconsin sports. I mean, my goodness, across the board. Wisconsin men's basketball, huge win against Marquette. We're going to dive into that game here today on the show, talk about that a little bit. We're going to kind of talk about that game coming with Nebraska tonight. And then the women's basketball team got a huge upset win over Michigan State. We're going to talk about that a little bit today here on the show. We have some football recruiting talk we want to get into with Badger football. We're going to talk about that actually next year on the show. We got Packers coming up, of course. We got to talk Packers. Packers with a statement win in some eyes, a huge win in some eyes. Some people are still, I was watching, I think it was on First Take on ESPN. Why on First Take was the conversation after the Packers beat the Bears? Why was the conversation? They were talking about, can you trust Jordan Love in a big game? And I said to myself, okay, because we love to be all about recent and recency bias, right? Jordan Love just orchestrated a game-winning drive, take the lead drive, against the Chicago Bears. After the Bears tied it at 21, Jordan Love said, hold this for a second. I'm going to go finish this game off for you. And took the Packers down the field, and they scored. Made some big-time throws in that game. 3 touchdowns in total, threw an interception, an ugly interception. We're going to get more into the Packers later on here. Threw an ugly interception, I will admit. I will say, it was an ugly interception. But all in all, after the Bears tied it at 21, Jordan Love did his business, took the Packers down the field and punched it in. 8 plays, 65 yards, 4 minutes and 28 seconds. What else did you want? In a big game? That was a big game. I don't know what a big game is to you, but that was a big game. And then they went on to talk about, what Jordan Love does against pressure, right? Against pressure, against the Browns and against the Panthers and, against the Cowboys. All those teams pressured him, yes. You don't think the Bears pressured him? You don't think he felt pressure in this game? And against the blitz in this game, Jordan Love was 9 for 12 for 171 yards and 3 touchdowns. Had a passer rating of 156 versus the blitz. In a heated rivalry game. Not going to count that as a big game. Not going to count that as a big-time performance in a big game. Now, are there things that I look back on in this game and I'm like, yeah, Jordan Love has to clean them up? Sure, yeah, 100%. 17 for 25, 234, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Not a bad day at the office. Not a bad day at the office whatsoever. So do you trust Jordan Love in a big game? What has he done this season that hasn't? 22 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Everybody's talking about, he makes these ill-advised throws and he makes these ill-advised throws. 4 picks on the year. 4. Can you imagine? And I saw somebody, I can't remember who was talking about this, but can you imagine if Jordan Love would have had the night that Jalen Hurts had last night? 4 interceptions. 4. Can you imagine? the sports, everybody would have blown up. They'd have been like, well, Jordan Love ain't that guy, right? I believe, who's that? Jeff Saturday said that. Jordan Love ain't that guy. What's he saying now? Is he still not that guy? Still not that guy for you? Like, I don't understand. How can you go week by week changing your narrative on things? Like, oh, Jordan Love's the guy this week, but he's not next week. The Packers are a Super Bowl contender this week, but they're not that next week because they lost that game. That's not how it works. That's not just how it works. And you just see all these major like sports analysts and that they're just, oh yeah, like, oh well, this week, Jordan Love ain't that guy, but that next week he's that guy. Stop it. If Jordan Love had this Jalen Hurts performance, you guys are blown up. But because it was a Jalen Hurts that did it, it's whatever. The way that they approach the Packers and the way that they approach Jordan Love is the only great quarterback in the NFL. I think it was Colin Cowherd who said that. Jordan Love is the only great quarterback in the NFL that they do not crown as great. They won't let him be crowned as great. They hold him almost to a different standard. I don't know if it's because he plays in Green Bay. I don't know what it is. But everybody tries to hold him to this different standard than other quarterbacks around the league. I mean, they talk about Justin Herbert in a better light than what they talk about Jordan Love. And like I said, Jalen Hurts, nobody's killing him as much as they would kill Jordan Love for that. Yeah, people are still talking about Jalen Hurts in a bad way, but they're not doing it as bad as what they would have if it was Jordan Love. 100%. I believe that 100%. I don't know why he gets held to this bigger standard than everyone else, but I saw Bears fans coming off that game against the Packers, and they're like, you would take Caleb Williams for the next, how many years over Jordan Love. No, not even. If you're watching Caleb Williams and you're telling me you love what you're seeing out of him in the passing game, I would call you crazy. I would. I would fight anybody who, not physically fight, but I would fight them with words of anybody who would say that they'd take Caleb Williams over Jordan Love. I would ask you to show me and prove to me why, because I would not be able to understand it at the end of the day. I wouldn't. I would not. So yeah, that was kind of irking me coming off that Packers-Bears matchup, was just the media's initial take, and then you had ESPN Milwaukee or whoever that was, that Homer guy down there blowing up all the defense and everything. And it's like, everybody just settle down. They won 28-21, got the NFC North back in their hands, control their own destiny just the way that you want it. It was good. It was good. It was good win all the way around. We're going to talk about that today. So we got Packers-Bears to talk about. We got Bucks talk coming up later here. The Wisco Fanatic guys are going to stop by for that. We're going to talk about that. Ummer's stopping by for the Packers. Christian will be stopping by next to talk some Badger football. We're going to start Badger football recruiting, and then we're going to get Badger basketball right after it there. So we're going to come back here on Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trades. Christian's going to be here. We're going to talk some Badger football on the backside of the ad break. We'll be right back here on Wisconsin Sports. Welcome back into Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trades. I am your host, Trades, as we come back here on this Wednesday. And hey, this next segment is brought to you by Casa M Spice. Are you craving bold gourmet flavor without the MSG fillers or excess salt? Meet Casa M Spice Company, the award-winning spice blend born in Texas. You'll ignite your taste buds and create fresh flavors meal after meal. This stuff is fantastic. You can try it on anything. You put it on your steak, eggs, hamburgers, whatever you want. Try it on there. I'm telling you. Get down to Foreman's, any Ace Hardware, or search them up online. Casa M Spice. You will not regret it. I promise you that. Check them out there, Casa M Spice Company. So Christian is here tonight. Christian, how are we doing? The weather outside it's frightful. It's crappy. It's terrible. The snow is back. That crap's back. But Christian, how are you doing on this Wednesday?
We're good. It's the Badgers look better. Wisconsin basketball looks better. Women's basketball looks better. I'm good.
Football, and that's where we want it. Football is...
Well, yeah. We're not quite there yet. We'll talk
football is football. We're not going to get to that yet. We want to get to, before we get to that, any of that nonsense, we want to get to our Casa M Spice bold player of the week. So, Christian, who do you got for me for this week? Your Casa M Spice bold player of the week.
Give me John Blackwell.
Ooh, I like that.
Oh, I was at the game on Saturday. I got to watch him just torch little brother Marquette. So that was fun. He was on fire.
And Rhodey, I messaged you because you posted about Rhodey hitting that big three from the Culver's logo there, and I was like, somebody had to take over, given the belt to Marquette there, and Max Klesman, because Klesman was always went off when it came to Marquette, so somebody's got to take that over. And Rhodey had a fantastic game there. I'm gonna go with this. It might tick off a lot of people, or it might not. I'm going to be reasonable here. Give me Keyshawn Nixon for the Packers.
Oh,
and
yes.
I know everybody's going to say, "Oh, that tight end was open if he threw it. If Caleb Williams threw the ball right." You're right. Keyshawn Nixon wasn't in coverage on that guy. He had DJ Moore.
That wasn't his guy.
Yeah, he had DJ Moore. He saw Kemet drop back there, and he said, "Oh boy, I got to get back." And that was what was the most impressive part. Was he read the play and said, "I got to get this deep guy." And Evan Williams even admitted it after the game. He's like, "He saved me."
He's like,
"He saved me on that play." And bailing off DJ Moore, maybe DJ Moore would have caught it for a touchdown, but you had more of a chance to get him down than the guy standing in the end zone. So what a play by Keyshawn Nixon in that one. I loved what he displayed there mentally in that moment.
Absolutely.
Oh, 100. That was awesome. That was awesome. I know a lot of people, he gets a lot of hate. I don't think one of the personal fouls should have been there because he got choked out and then somehow still got the flag on him. But he's such an up and down player for people. But that play right there was like, yes, that is what I want to see from him is a step it up play right there from Keyshawn Nixon. So let's get to Badger football here because we're like, what do we want to talk about first? Badger basketball, Badger football. We're like, might as well just get the Badger football out of the way. Talk about this recruiting class that we saw. We just got to get it out of the way. Just push it to the side here.
Obligated to talk about it.
We're out. Yeah, obligated is a strong word. Like we should talk about it, but we should talk about it, but we should. So we're just gonna. I don't know. So. We're just going to do it. Badger football, the early signing period's done now. We see the transfer starting to jump into the transfer portal there from Wisconsin. We've seen some guys jump in. Let's start with the signees. Who's coming into this class here? What do they got? 14 guys that are on the list here. 14 guys. The class comes in at overall 72, according to 24/7 Sports. Composite rank of 70. Not so great when it comes to the ranking-wise. Christian, were there any guys that stuck out to you in this class that the Badgers have coming in?
I think, well, before we get into that, I think the reason it was, smaller, so you can choose to believe this or not. Fickle said this class was smaller by design. A lot of people are pretty skeptical about that. They think he just whiffed on a lot of people. So his thought was, you don't get 22 draft picks in the NFL. Which makes sense, right? So, and with the transfer portal being what's being, like you see Greg Gard doing this, you don't really prioritize high school recruiting. Granted, football, you need a lot more bodies, so you need guys coming in. But he's even admitted that the transfer portal this year is going to be big. So I think, and you could also argue he's doing that because he needs to save his job for next year. So, you're not going to rely on a bunch of true incoming freshmen to save your job next year when you need to at least make a bowl game, probably, right?
100%. So, I'm right with you on that. Like I see 100% what you're saying because like you said there perfectly was the draft pick portion of it, where you're not going to rely on draft picks to carry your team. Well, if you're Luke Fickell, you can't go into your season basically, right? This is it, and trying to rely on. Okay, we have this guy, the 3-star coming out of wherever, Chattanooga. I can't rely on him to be that star for me right now, right? So you need other guys to be in that room.
Hey, Keyshawn Thibodeau is going to be pretty good.
I'm not.
He's the
first guy I saw on the list, and I was
he's our top-rated recruit.
He is. I'm like, I don't want to hate on this guy, but he's the first guy on the list.
He was. All right, well, that guy was committed to Vanderbilt, and they flipped him, and Vanderbilt is pretty dang good, and they got a decent class. But I think the reason they're all the way down at 70 or 72, depending on what you're looking at, is because they only have 14 guys. Let's pick on West Virginia because I'm sore at them anyway for the crap they pulled with Amari Latimer anyway. But they're bringing in 45 true freshmen next year. Like, so when oh God, out of the 45, I think 40 of them are 3-stars. So it's like, that's it. Is it quality or quantity do you want, right? So, the recruiting rankings are, you got to take them with a grain of salt. They're all different. A lot of classes are in the 20-guy range. So, like 14 is a very small class. But again, I think they did realize, okay, we're missing on a lot of our top guys. Do you want to just sign guys to sign guys? Or do you just want to let's get quality players we think are actually good, which is what Fickell said. He said he thinks a lot of these guys could actually contribute next year as true freshmen. I don't know if I believe that, but I think there's a couple guys who probably could, like maybe some of the edge guys, or maybe even the running back Quantavious Wiggins. That's an awesome name. I love that name. But I think there's a couple guys in here that could actually do something next year, at least get into the 2 deep and just be a backup. But otherwise, I think they're gonna rely a lot on the transfer portal, hence the $30 million, the reported number that is thrown out there that Kellner was, the big donor was talking about. And so we'll see what happens with that. But so I think you got to take the rankings with a grain of salt. And I think, it's obviously not, this is Fickell's quote unquote worst class, but it's also his smallest class. And I don't know, you had 2 studs committed since June that bailed out on you in the last month. So, I mean, you're kind of left scrambling a little bit, but I mean, Tabito is Jaden Pettit's replacement. I mean, and Pettit bailed out because he didn't necessarily think his fit with the offense was good, because let's be honest, our offense looked terrible. Like, do you blame the guy?
Yep. He
had offers from Oklahoma who was pushing him really hard. Look at Oklahoma. I would probably do the same thing. But then the whole Amari Latimer drama, I don't know if anyone knows about that, but sounds like Tuesday night going into the early signing period, him and Wisconsin were solid. They felt really good about it, all that. And then Wednesday morning comes around and they were expecting him to be one of the first people to send in his signed letter of intent, and it just never came. And then they tried to reach out to him, and he was pretty much just like ghosting them all day. And then so it just didn't look good. And then it sounds like things got pretty, like they thought they had Tennessee and Miami beat out, which they did. And then here comes West Virginia, who apparently just decides they're going to start throwing money around like crazy. Depending on what you believe, I've seen numbers of like, 900 to up to 1,000, up to $1 million. They wrote him a check for just to go there. And he's like one of 5 or 6 running backs in their class. Like, they're literally, West Virginia right now is just throwing money at their problem, which a lot of people want like Wisconsin to do.
Right.
But I think you throw money at the portal.
Yeah.
Because those are proven players. You know what you're getting with that. Whereas you got all these high school kids coming in, like, you don't know. I mean, you have a good idea, but like, you have no clue like if they're actually going to do well. And that's why you see like a lot of 3 stars who end up being really good, and a lot of 4 and 5 stars who just burn out and aren't anything.
Right. No, 100%. If you can get that, $500,000 or $1 million on a proven, like you said, running back, I'd take that any day over a young running back who you don't know about at this point. You have no tape except for high school tape, and that high school tape can look great, and then it can also show it might be some flaws there you aren't seeing at the very.
But what's your competition either?
Exactly. You might not be seeing the competition that you're going to be seeing at the Big Ten level or et cetera. So, I mean, I completely agree. And you know what? Honestly, he's had great recruiting classes over the past how many years? How's it turned out? Like, how's it really turned out for Wisconsin? Not great. Not great to this point.
But I mean, Mason Postal looks pretty good.
I mean,
Same with Cooper Catalano.
He's got his guys, right? And we expect Kevin Haywood to look good. That's like the big guys, yeah. And we expect Kevin Haywood to look good. When Dillian Jones gets out on the field, you expect him to look good, right? You expect those guys to actually be able to play, but you need to stay healthy, right? That's the big thing. And that's where if you go into this transfer portal, you're going to attack. You don't want an unproven offensive lineman. You want to go fortify the offensive line with guys who've been in college football for a year or two, right? And then you want to go look at a quarterback. You want to get a guy who's a little bit more proven. Otherwise, you already have Carter Smith. Otherwise, you're just going to throw him out there. I mean, you want to go get the proven guys like you're saying. I'm completely with you on that, especially, and we've said it a million times, but Luke Fickell is going into I need this year, and you have a schedule that you can win. You don't want to have growing pains in a schedule that you can win. You want to go in with studs like Mason Rieger that you grab and just go and get them. And that's what he's aiming for in this one. So, I mean, we can worry about the class, but we can also look at it and say, how many of those guys, honestly, I look at all the 3 stars going to West Virginia. How many of those guys are going to be at West Virginia next year? Half. The other half are going to transfer out.
Half will transfer out.
Yes,
absolutely.
Exactly. So look at Wisconsin.
They're literally just what's the saying? They're throwing crap at a wall, right? And just seeing what sticks.
Pretty much.
And then what doesn't. All right, see you later. And they're out of there. So it's like, I mean, it's a technique, it's a tactic, I guess, but we'll see if it works out for good old Rich Rodriguez.
It makes you wonder if they're trying to take the approach of being the stepping stone. I know last week we joked about Wisconsin being the stepping stone, but some universities
maybe they're serious about it.
Some universities might take it as maybe we can be successful by being a stepping stone, where we just like guys transfer from us. We know they're going to, but we can be that first stop for them, where they can for sure get the playing time this year, and then next year they're going to end up leaving anyway, so they can go off to their bigger school. Maybe that's the approach they're taking. I don't know.
Or maybe Or maybe it's because is West Virginia in the Big 12?
Yes.
Yes, okay. See, geographically, I'm so screwed up now. In my head, I'm thinking, they're in the ACC, which is terrible. Duke just won the ACC with 5 losses. Like, maybe they're thinking, hey, if Duke can do it, yeah, they don't have much of a shot in the Big 12, I don't think, with BYU and Texas Tech. And, I mean, even without Texas or Oklahoma, I think I don't know, I think Big 12 is still pretty solid.
Yeah, isn't Utah? Utah's in there too now, aren't they? Utah's in there, and
Utah's
then
in the
Colorado's
Utah's in it.
there.
Yep.
So,
Colorado.
I mean, you got some good opponents in there. Arizona State just went to the College Football Playoff last year there. So I mean, there's some really good opponents in there. So who knows what West Virginia is trying to do with that stuff there. But Wisconsin, so we talked a little bit about the recruiting class there. It's a smaller size. I mean, we're not too up in arms about it because we're trying to believe, I guess, what Luke Fickell's
and plus the 2027 class had, like, the state of Wisconsin, like, has like 5 or 6 4-star kids who look like they're going to be really good. And Wisconsin, from what I've heard, is in a pretty good spot with multiple of them. One of them is already going to Notre Dame. He's a legacy kid. His brother went to Notre Dame, whatever. But like, there's 4 or 5 other kids that are pretty dang good that Wisconsin's already got the inside track on, and probably because everyone was complaining about how they don't do any in-state recruiting.
Right, it's a nice push in it.
But it sounds like, well, this is the class to do it. This is kind of like, I don't know, was it like 2020, 2021, whatever it is. Like, that was where Joe Brunner, who we got, but then it was it Braylon Allen? But I think he reclassified. But it was also that guy. There's a guard from Notre Dame who went there, Billy Schroth. And then there was Carson Hintzman, the center for Ohio State. Yep. Like, Jerry Cross was tight end. He went to Penn State. I think he's at Memphis or something now. But like, they had like that class had like a bunch of 4 or 5-star guys, and Wisconsin only got one of them. But anyways, people that like to say Paul Christ does way better than Fickell did. Like, Christ only got one of those guys. Well, 2, I guess, if you count Braylon Allen too. But
they just look at the years of Paul Christ and say that it was better because of the record.
Yeah, everyone loves
because of the record was there, and it's like, okay, the record was better. Yes, it's just,
dude,
it's a different kind of landscape now. It is. It's a different kind of landscape.
Dude, I just threw some, just to meander a little too far off of this a little bit longer. I threw some tweet up just talking about, because the NFL released like the fan vote, like Pro Bowl getters on. I'm just like, oh, cool. 6 former Badgers are on it. And I list all the Badgers and and of course, everyone's making about, oh, weird. It's all Paul Christ guys, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, Kevin Zeitler isn't a Paul Christ guy. Like, that was a Brett Bielema guy, whatever.
Right.
And someone else, they're all from Wisconsin. I'm like, Jonathan Taylor's from New Jersey. They're not all from, like, everyone just loves to like try to like twist that narrative. So it's like, Fickell's bad. Christ was way better. We never should have fired him. And it's just whatever. By the end of Christ's tenure, his recruiting classes were absolutely garbage.
Right.
So
who knows? That's all I know is who knows at this point. So one last thing before we got to hit a break here, we'll come back. We went off on we went way off.
That's my bad.
That's okay. One last thing before we got to hit a break here. The transfers going out, I guess. Any surprises so far? We saw being the big one, probably Yakamele, Atticus Bertrams is going out there, the punter. Outside of that, just young guys. Is there anybody surprising, I guess, to you at this point?
No, not at all. Cody Raymond, he didn't play. Kyan Barry Johnson, guy had talent, but couldn't get in. He had some other stuff going on, I think. Remington Moss, I didn't think he was ever really a Big Ten safety. Bertram's, you said. Yakamele, I think that guy is he got the shaft for the lack of a better word. I think he's a guy that probably could have earned more snaps than he actually got for whatever reason. I think maybe the staff just liked their guys with Dupree and Jones and Gideon and Tuca, which whatever, that's, their prerogative. That's their guys. But so I'd like to see him be successful somewhere next year. And now Joseph Griffin Jr. couldn't really get on the field a whole lot. Tackett Curtis, that's a dude I was super excited about coming from USC. But I don't know. He lost his job. You got Mason Posa and Cooper Catalano. He's not going to stick around 1 year just to back him up.
Right. No, 100%. 100%. And like you just named off the guys, there's really nobody that surprises you on that list because they're just not going to have the playing time here in Madison. So like Taggart Curtis and Yakamele and those guys, they're not going to waste a year in Madison because they know the job's not there for them anymore. They're going to move on, see what they can do out in the open market there. So we're going to hit a break. We're going to come back here. Kristen's going to stick around. We're going to talk Badger men's hoops. We're going to talk Badger's women's hoops on the backside of the ad break here. We'll be right back here. I'm back to Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage. This next segment here is brought to you by JBC Screen Printing and Embroidery. They take pride in their work because your image is their business. Check them out there. Search us when you get to the website there, or you can go to the Facebook page, Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. Click my pinned, whatever you call it there, the pinned post. You click into that, you get the link. You can go straight to our apparel store right there on JBC Screen Printing. $5 from your purchase will go to Warm Kids Wisconsin there. Help a kid stay warm this winter season. I'm telling you, what could be better than that? You get a t-shirt, you get a hat, maybe a stocking cap, maybe a trucker hat, whatever you need, and you help a kid stay warm this winter season. I can't think of anything better. Support the show, support kids, everything in between. Check them out there. JBC Screen Printing and Embroidery. So Christian has stuck around in here. We're going to talk a little Badger hoops now. But first, we have to talk about our good, bad, and ugly coming off the weekend there. Our good, we have settled on just basically every Wisconsin sports team outside of our bad. So we're talking women's volleyball, right? They got the win over North Carolina there. They're going to be taking on Stanford now coming up here. That's Friday, I believe there. They got Stanford there. And then we're talking women's, women's basketball. Goodness. I mean, Michigan State got the win over Michigan State. They're 7-3 now. We were looking at it. It's crazy. I don't want to seem terrible, but the last time Wisconsin women's basketball had a winning record, you have to go back to 2010. So what Robin has done, Robin Pinchington, Pinchton. I think that's it. Pinchton, yeah. Yeah, I know. It's like Bielakowskis. Everybody says it. Yeah. And it doesn't even matter. Bielakowskis. Whoever says it. I tell myself every year, I'm like, however Matt LePay says it is the right way. That's all I need. However Matt LePay tells me how to say it is how I'm going to say it. So, but she has done fantastic turning the narrative around to this program. I love to see it, and I can't wait to talk about some good things with this women's team moving forward. So we got that going on. We got the wrestling team is at 21 in the country right now, and in the coaches' poll. Are they really? That's impressive. Dang. I mean, where that program was to now, where they are good. They had their first shutout, I believe. If it's been a long time since they had a shutout, they just shut out over the weekend. It's going to slip my mind here. I don't have time to look it up, but they had their first shutout in a very long time over the weekend there. So they have been impressive, Wisconsin wrestling. So that's awesome to see there. And then, I mean, Badger men's basketball, the big knockout punch they gave to Marquette. It seems like Marquette is going to be in our bad coming off the weekend because Marquette is just falling apart at the seams. And we kind of talked about commercial break. We're like, who are we going to do for our bad? And we both said kind of, Marquette. Well, we had a whole bunch of different things we were talking about, but we said we settled on Marquette, and we said, we respect Shaka Smart for wanting to still do the traditional route of recruiting his guys and building his program. We respect that, but in this day and age of college sports, you have to be able to sprinkle in a transfer here and there to stay competitive, and that is not what he's doing right now. So it's not going well there. And then our ugly has got to be the Milwaukee Bucks. That is not getting better at the moment, and we have Shams telling us that Giannis still wants to leave, even though, I just heard Shams on ESPN yesterday say that he heard there's tension in the locker room because of how they're feeling about Giannis wanting to leave. And then Kevin Porter Jr. and Bobby Portis have both been on record saying that Giannis does nothing but reassure them in the locker room that he wants to be there with that team and he wants to continue to build it. I don't know where Shams gets his stories from anymore, but it's driving me up. Well, I can't wait for the guys from Wisco Fanatics to hop on later because I know Tyler is going to go off about it. So make sure you guys are checking out hour number 2 of the show tonight here. They're going to be hopping on. He's going to go off on Shams here later in the show. So make sure you guys stick around for that.
It's like Brian Windhorst, saying the same thing, and then literally a day or two later, he goes on ESPN Milwaukee or something. He's just like, yeah, he didn't actually say the words, I want to be traded. And it's just like, so what are we doing? What are we doing here?
Yeah, no, we're just. It's like I lied. I'm sorry. And didn't even say I'm sorry. It's like I lied. It's such bad journalism at this point. It's like, okay, so who can you believe? You guys are just rumors now. That's basically what you're telling me. Is all you guys want to talk about is rumors. It's terrible. Yeah. We're gonna, like I said, the Wisco Fanatics guys are gonna hop on later, and I'm telling you what, if you want to hear somebody rant about it, you just wait until Tyler comes on here from Wisco Fanatics. He's gonna blow a lid off of ESPN and the analysts that are going about it right now. So. Anyways, there is our good, bad, and ugly coming off the weekend. Let's start right away. This women's basketball team, Christian, what we've seen, they just came off the weekend. They're number 20 Michigan State. Got the win. It's been a while since, and just a couple weeks before that, they had hung with, who was it there? It was Ole Miss. Ole Miss pretty high up in the rankings. It was
and
a
Ole
pretty
Miss
good
was
game
like, they were up there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty good game there. Then James Madison, they got beat pretty good by James Madison.
Yeah.
But then they ended up beating Michigan State back at home, beat them by 14. I mean, the direction of this program, and we don't have to dive too deep into it here, but the direction of this program, I mean, it's enticing. It really is to see what, and I mean, this is going to make Chris McIntosh look good for a hire, right? That he had a good hire here. But I mean, it's looking like a good hire because we're seeing productivity. We're seeing a program that looks like it's building into something.
Mm-hmm. And that's losing Sarah Williams too. Like she was like the only decent player they had. Now she's at UConn, of course, but like she's doing really well. They're good for her, but like I don't know. And the other thing too, I think that I really like Robin Pinchin's doing is she's actually getting recruits from Wisconsin. Like she's not getting all of them, but like Wisconsin girls basketball has a lot of like when you check it out on ESPN, their top like 100, there's always like at least 2 or 3 girls from Wisconsin that are pretty high up. Naturally, they've been going to like UConn, like KK Arnold, and but there's one going to Minnesota now next year that got away, and like one snuck down to Iowa. But otherwise, they've gotten there's 2 or 3 that are already committed to Wisconsin. So credit to her, man. She's at least getting the Wisconsin girls to come in. I heard, not to get too, again, here I am getting sidetracked. But
no, you're good. You're good.
Marissa Mosley. So Mike Wilkinson? He was a Badger basketball player years ago, right?
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yep,
his daughter, I think she was at Arrowhead like a year or 2 ago, and I heard she wanted to just walk on, like do whatever, and I think she was actually pretty good. But like I don't think Marissa Mosley even like gave her a shot and basically just said thanks but no thanks. Like she literally would like, this girl's pretty good. She's a Wisconsin legacy. You don't do like almost any in-state recruiting, and she wanted to come to Wisconsin. You just basically turned her away. They just looked really bad. She
was like the onions on my cheeseburger. Like I just want to pick them off and get rid of them. Like she was just terrible at her job.
Well, wasn't she like a Gino disciple or something? Like she like, was
so.
under him for a while, and then she went to like but Boston and did okay there. I mean, I don't think she did anything great, but I think they hired her because she's like, oh yeah, she was a coach under Gino, so she's probably really good. And I think
they just kind of looked at it and said, see, that's the problem is I think now they're finally looking at the program and saying, let's fix it. Right. Before it was like, whatever. It's it's like,
women's basketball doesn't bring any money in. Yeah.
And now it's like, okay, now we're bringing it to the, like, I don't want to get too long winded here, but Caitlin Clark brought women's basketball in the forefront. Then you had Paige Beckers, and then you had all them great athletes come through there. And now we're starting to see women's sports come back into it. So they're like, hey, let's get a good team on the court here and let's see what we can do here at Wisconsin because we have a good men's team. Let's get a good women's team now and see what you can do together. So, I mean, I love, like you said, bringing in recruits from the state of Wisconsin, bringing in some good transfers to fit into the system. Love what we're seeing there out of the women's basketball team. I believe they're next on the court against San Diego. It's such a weird schedule. They got San Diego. Badgers play in San Diego, at San Diego. Like this, who is it? It's San Diego. It's like San Diego, the Toreros. I think it's the actual university out there in San Diego. So it's where Wisconsin played that little thing with Providence and then TCU.
Oh, yeah.
They're playing them. Like they're playing San Diego. So, I mean, it's interesting. It's quite interesting. Yeah. But yeah, they have them. That's going to be coming up tomorrow there at the 11 a.m. Really, that's women's basketball does that. They have the weird early start times. So this is an 11 o'clock game here in the morning. So because I know they have their next game on the 21st is at 11 a.m. too. So the Badgers will play back-to-back games at 11 a.m. That's weird. I don't like that. But Big Ten Plus. So if you guys can, make sure you check that out because the program is looking good. They're looking good as of late here. So make sure you guys are checking them out there. So let's flip over men's basketball. What a win against Marquette. You were down there at the Kohl Center. Tell me about the atmosphere. Tell me about the vibes coming out of that game.
Well, they got to debut their alternate red jerseys, which I think look pretty slick, by the way.
That's true.
I'm a sucker for those. Anyways, so they had their red out. Almost everyone was wearing red. I mean, the only other game I've been to so far this year was the Campbell game, the very first one. Not that many people there, but
right.
So I mean, the atmosphere was a lot better. There was a good chunk of Marquette fans too, but mostly Wisconsin fans. And I don't know. I thought and especially are the students on break yet?
It's got to be. I think close.
They got to be, but like it was pretty full. So that was awesome to see too. So it was rowdy. It was awesome. bit of a slow start for the Badgers. It's like 3 turnovers and only like 1 made field goal in the first like 5 minutes of the game. So that was a little uncharacteristic of them. But then once I think it was once Blackwell hit a 3, kind of just opened everything up. And meanwhile, Marquette just still couldn't hit anything. So they shut down Chase Ross, and like I think he is like him and Ben Gold are the only 2 guys on that roster I could have named. So there's a bunch of guys I don't know, and Wisconsin just took it to him, and John Blackwell just pretty much did whatever he wanted the entire game. So and there was a few times too where they hit a couple threes in a row, and then there was like a third one went up, and you could just tell like if that went in, the whole place would have just absolutely gone crazy, but of course didn't fall. But either way, awesome environment. I mean, that's really what I wanted to go to the game for, because like I'd love to go to a Marquette game, right? I mean, it's too bad they aren't good this year, but I don't know. It was fun to watch, fun to see them, but I think things are going to get a lot tougher for them coming up here now.
100%. Just watching it there, they did the little things right in this game, right? They took away the points in the paint for Marquette. That's where they wanted to get. Chase Ross, those guys, they don't want to finish on the outside. They want to finish inside. The Badgers did a really good job denying them the paint, keeping them out of there. I know they ended up with 40 points in the paint, but that's a skewed number because it ended up ballooning to a big lead, and then it got a little crazy on Wisconsin there a little bit. So numbers do get kind of fudged in that area, but I thought they did a great job in the first half controlling that paint area. We finally saw a complete game out of the Badgers where they just looked good wire to wire on both ends of the court. I thought in this game, like they looked good on both ends of the court there. John Blackwell and Nick Boyd in this game, I thought they finally clicked together. And that's kind of something I want to talk about. So we've talked about it all season long now, where we were like, both these guys are fantastic, but can they figure out how to play on the court together? And I thought in this game, we finally saw Nick Boyd notice John Blackwell and say, I should flip you the basketball because I know you can hit shots. I mean, is that something that you also saw in this one?
See, I think I don't want to say Nick Boyd realized he's, not the top guy, because I think he still could be, but like, I think he realized, John Blackwell is that dude. Like, this is his team. I think Boyd, looking back, like at the post game notes, like Wisconsin is one of 2 teams in the country that has 2 players averaging 20 points a game or more. It's them and USC, but it's Blackwell and it's Boyd. And I think, again, the nice thing about Boyd too, though, is if Blackwell's having an off night or the defense is just absolutely smothering him, denying him, not letting him get shots up, anything like that, then you got him, So I think they kind of just looked at who has the easier matchup, and I think it was definitely probably Blackwell in this game. So I think they took advantage of that, and I think they played really well off of each other, to your point.
Yeah, no, and I love to see it in a game like this. And I thought there's another duo that I think plays way better together, and it's Bielauskas and Winter. Because when Rapp is out there, Winter is forced to be more of the 5, more of the physical big, and that was. And I know we loved it. Everybody loved to hate on Steven Crowell. But when Steven Crowell was there, I thought he took that off of Nolan Winter, where then he was the big. Nolan was able to play more of that 4 role, more of that, more of that athletic big guy. And I think with Bielauskas out there, he's not an athletic guy. He's a big guy. He doesn't really want to be out. Like, he can knock down the shots on the perimeter. We saw that there at the end. He just started ripping them at the end there, and he couldn't slow him down. But, you watch him out there, and he's good defending big. He can get down to the post. He can do the dirty things for you, Bielauskas can, which is surprising because it's like you don't usually see young guys step into such a big role like he has already. 10 rebounds. He would have had the 10 rebounds already. The points wouldn't have came unless he started burying threes at the end there. And he ended up with a double-double, which is awesome to see. But just seeing a guy who's able to do that kind of stuff for you in that natural big guy role, I love it because I don't need another scorer in the starting role, right? I have Blackwell, I have Boyd, I have Nolan Winter, and I have Rhodey. And we saw Rhodey in this game finally have a great game shooting the basketball. I don't need Bielauskas to be an all-the-time scorer. I need a guy who can get down to the post, play good defense on some big guys, and also because you're going to have guys like Trey Coffer and Wren, right? You're going to take on him and Purdue. You're going to have to be able to slow him down in the post. You have the big guys from Michigan. You're going to go across the board. You have Kohler from Michigan State there. You're going to have the big guys that you have to be able to control from these Big Ten teams that you have coming up. Who's that? I can't remember the guy from UCLA. It's not Beatty. Beatty played for Oregon, I believe. I can't remember who the big guy is there. 32 from UCLA. I can see him in my head right now, but I can't remember what his name is. But Biddle was the guy from Oregon there.
From Oregon,
I can't remember.
Biddle's from Oregon.
I can't remember who the heck the guy is from UCLA, but you got some good bigs that you're going to have to bang up against.
Yeah,
I love that Bielawskis is out there now and getting those starter minutes because I think he is good in that role. Whereas I'm going to give you this comp, and I want to hear what you think. Austin Rapp is Connor Esiason, just a bigger version. He is.
He shoots a lot and doesn't play defense.
100%. That's Connor Esiason, isn't it? I mean, just a bigger version of Connor Esiason.
But I think the difference there is I think Rapp is going to I think he's going to be more like willing to learn to play defense and work his butt off to play defense, whereas I think Esiason really had no interest in that.
Right. No, 100%. I 100% agree. It's just when he tried,
but right now,
fire him up, he'd start to foul. So I hope that Rapp doesn't try to push himself to the point where now he's fouling guys, which we saw a little bit there. He gets in the last couple games, he's had a little bit of not a huge foul issue. He only had 3 in this game, but he got him quick in that game against Marquette. He got him like back to back, basically. So like that's something to keep an eye on there, is if he starts to press it on the defensive end because he's not in that starting role. Because he mentioned it after the game, he's like, I've only been used to being a starter. I've never really been in this role before. So just something interesting to keep an eye on there.
Yeah. And going back to kind of what you're talking about with like the bigs that they're going to be running into. So, I mean, with recording on technically Wednesday tonight, when the Badgers play Nebraska, that rank masked guy is really good. Right. He's absolutely going to be a problem. They're going to need Winter. They're going to need Bielawskis. They're going to need, they might even need Will Garlick down there to guard him a little bit. Maybe just to, maybe take a foul or two if they need to. But I think that's the Big Ten, though. Like, you're going to be running into that all year. So
that was a dynamite transition to the next point. That was dynamite. The game coming up against Nebraska tonight.
There you go.
I think you're 100% right with the rank mass thing. I think it's going to be a lot on Nolan Winter tonight to control him, because I don't think Bielawskis, because rank mass is a good 3-point shooter, I don't know if Bielawskis can get out on him there because he might get beat off the bounce. I think it's going to be a lot on Nolan Winter. Maybe even a guy like, I don't know if you would sacrifice a little bit of height there with a guy like Braden Carrington. Just a little,
or Rhodey.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit of height, but rank mass loves to play out on the perimeter a little bit. So if you can keep him out of the post area, maybe you'd be fine in that sense there. But this is a good Nebraska team coming into this one. They've had a good season so far. They're undefeated right now. You're heading
no Connor Esiason though.
No Connor Esiason. Darn it, right? Darn it.
Kind of wish he was in there. Let him launch 7 or 8 threes and maybe hit 1 or 2.
I know. I want to see him try to beat Wisconsin by himself and end up failing there. So Christian, I got to run here. Make sure you guys are checking out that Badger game tonight. 8 o'clock though. Should be a fantastic game. Christian's going to be back on Saturday here. He's going to be back on Saturday. We're going to talk about the game. We're going to recap that game, and then we're going to look ahead to who they got coming up after. Who do they got coming up this week?
Is it Milwaukee? No, I can't remember off the top of my head.
Oh, isn't it some weird team? Villanova coming up.
Oh, they got Nova? Oh, yeah. Nova just got smoked by Michigan.
Nova just got smoked by Michigan. So we're going to find out what Wisconsin can do against Michigan after that one there. So we're going to recap this Nebraska game coming up on Saturday here on the show for you guys. So, Christian, thank you as always for hopping on tonight. Let the people know where to find you out there across social media.
Absolutely. At Christian Borman on all my social media stuff. And make sure you check out and subscribe to the Badger Backer.
Make sure you guys do it there. He has got fantastic stuff. He's tracking the transfer portal for you guys right now for Wisconsin football, keeping an eye on that recruiting portal, everything in between with Wisconsin football. He's got that covered. He's got Wisconsin sports down to a T. So make sure you guys check him out there. Badger Backer across all platforms there. So we're going to come back here. We're going to wrap up hour number 1. Look ahead to hour number 2 when we come back here. Welcome back into Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage, as we come back here on this Wednesday. And hey, this next segment, Ummer is stopping by. We're going to talk a little Packers here. This next segment is brought to you by Marshfield Motor Speedway, the half-mile paved track just 3 miles west of Marshfield on County Road H. Find upcoming events and races at marshfieldspeedway.com. That is marshfieldspeedway.com there. So Ummer is here tonight. Ummer, how are we doing on this Wednesday? We got snow here in Wisconsin. How are you guys doing out there?
It's freezing. It is cold, but no snow. But definitely, how cold is it for you guys? We're like in between the 20s and 30s.
How cold is it for us? Well, yesterday Yesterday was super cold. Yesterday it was about 29. I believe this weekend, Saturday, the feels like temperature is supposed to be down to like -30 is what I thought I saw. I think the actual temperature is like 5. The overnight's like -10. So it's going to get cold fast. And then next week I saw Wednesday's like 35 degrees. So I don't know what's going on. My body can't handle that.
You're all over the place right now.
It can't handle that. My body needs, once it gets cold, I tell this to my coworkers at work. I'm like, for the first week when it gets super cold, I'm going to be useless because my body needs to accustom itself to the cold. I need to get ready for it. And then once I get accustomed to it, I'm fine for the rest of the winter. But I cannot handle the fluctuating temperatures because then my body gets thrown for a loop. I don't know what to do. It's just madness. It's just madness.
This is madness.
Anyways, enough about my body and what's going on with that crazy mess.
Yes, sir,
Let's talk some Packers because there was an awesome game that we watched this last weekend here. A nail biter, gritty, an NFC North battle, right? And that's what I think I want to start with. I loved it because it was an NFC North battle between, I say it for the first time in a long time, the Bears are a good football team. And thank goodness, it makes it all better. Like, honestly, everybody's like, well, would you rather have the Bears be bad for this? No, I don't want the Bears to be bad for the rivalry. It's not really a rivalry when it's one-sided, right? I want to see where you have some good football games. You have two heated teams going at each other. That's what I want to see. Like, that's the fan in me. I want to see good games. I want to see, like, Wisconsin and Marquette this last weekend, the in-state rivalry. Wisconsin beat them by 20. I don't want to see that. Like, it was awesome to see them blow them out. Like, that's cool and all because I'm a big Badger fan. Don't really like Marquette. But at the same time, like, I want to see a good game, and I'm glad it's back. I mean, Umar, are you kind of in that same boat where you want to see the rivalry be good? You want to see the Bears be good because it adds the extra juice.
Yeah, I'm opposite of that.
You're the opposite. What?
Yes, I'm like, you sound a lot like Jason Woody. Woody says the same thing. He goes, I want a good rivalry. I want a good game. I want it to come back. Me, no, I want total domination. I get it. Like,
total domination of a good team, though. Like,
I agree. Yeah, because you know what? It makes you better. Yep. Adversity makes you better. So if you're playing teams that are just as good as you or a little bit under you, it helps you prepare for playoffs. I think for many, many years that our division had its moments, but there are times it didn't. So that we were going to playoffs and just, we're playing a different type of caliber of teams, right? And so because of that, I feel like, it has maybe softened us a little bit. And I think what the Packers have gone through this year has really showed them some resiliency, right? I mean, that Chicago game was good. I don't think Chicago's going away. I mean, with me saying that, Chicago's not going away. Like, they're here for a long run. Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams are going to get it right. That defense is opportunistic, and it's going to be a battle for years to come. I'm just hoping that LaFleur and Jordan can keep up their success against them.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I agree with you there. And so let's start right there. You're talking about the defense for the Bears. Let's talk about the offense for the Packers a little bit. Jordan Love in that game. I still see the national media coming off that. They talked about it to open up the show today that, I saw the video of Cam Newton on First Take talking about Jordan Love and do you trust him in big games? And he's like, I've seen him against the Panthers, the Browns, the Cowboys, and he couldn't do anything in there. He can't handle the pressure. I was like, what do you mean he can't handle the pressure? He was 9 for 12 against the blitz against the Bears. He was fantastic. Like, I don't know, 3 touchdowns against the blitz in that game against the Bears. I don't know what else you want from the guy in a big moment in a big game. But anyways, that's enough about that. Jordan Love in this game had the one bad interception. Outside of that, played a pretty good game. Let's start with the offensive line, though, for the Packers. Have you seen the same thing as I have where I love the combo of Sean Ryan and Anthony Belton up the middle? Just that combo since Elton Jenkins went out, and I love Elton Jenkins, but man, oh man, Sean Ryan has played fantastic at the center spot. And then Anthony Belton right next to him has been huge for him. Zach Tom's been good. Aaron Banks is playing better. Actually, the only one I have any kind of problem with is Rasheed Walker because the video that Andy Herman put out there, I believe it was Andy Herman that put it out there, where he was kind of dogging it on a play and kind of just let a guy go around him where it just seemed like he's like, whatever. And it's kind of odd in the contract year. But let's start right there with the offensive line. We'll work to Jordan Love, we'll work to the rest of the offense. Let's start with the offensive line. What have you liked from them from what you've seen? Because I've just been totally impressed.
Honestly, the one thing that got me about that offensive line is like you just said, with Ryan and Belton being kind of incorporated into the offensive line, we really have seen some continuity finally across the line. Our run game, for the most part, I just feel like I'm not saying it's 100% better. It just feels better because you're right. Because Rasheed Walker missed like 4 run blocks in that game, and Aaron Banks played pretty decent. I think Ryan and Belton are having their like, learning curve, a little bit bumps in the road as they're, trial by fire kind of stuff. Zach Tom is legit Zach Tom. But overall, like, the offensive line has made it to where I felt like before it was where it is right now, Jordan's eyes were going down. He wasn't looking downfield. If the pocket was coming around him, and he would get scared, he'd bail out, he'd try to throw off his back foot, which he does really well, but he would rush throws or he'd try to throw deep balls, and he just wasn't getting a little bit enough into it. I see him in the Detroit game and in this game, as well as at both Detroit, Minnesota, all these games, he's seeing the pocket kind of come around him, and it's not impacting his ability to see down the field. And he's seeing guys, he's throwing the ball downfield. He's having pressure directly in his face. And in the beginning of the year, not beginning of the year, but like after Jaden Reed got hurt, and then when Tucker got hurt too, when he would have that pressure in his face, he would take a sack or, he'd make a bad throw. He's not doing that now. I mean, he had a clean rusher coming right at him, and he was able to throw a dart to Luke Musgrave. I think because the offensive line where it is right now, you're starting to see what Jordan really can be, because the thing this year was you get a clean pocket with no pressure, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. But if you have pressure and he was being blitzed, one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. These last 4 or 5 games, he's number 1 in both situations, with a clean pocket and against the blitz. And I think a lot of that has to do with that continuity on the offensive line.
Yeah, 100%. And you can see it in the command that he has in the offense right now, right?
Yes.
I love that command, and you saw it in a couple different plays. The hot routes that he's calling as of late here, seeing the coverage, seeing what's happening. I mean, that Christian Watson touchdown, he called it. He told him, like, you got man-to-man. Christian Watson's like, yeah, I got man-to-man. And he called that little slant to him there, hit him, boom, gone. And Christian Watson, I just want to hit that before we got to hit a little break.
You got to come. You got to show him his love.
Christian Watson, I'm going to tell you this now, and I want to hear what people have to say. Hit me up, 715-990-4914, 715-990-4914. Christian Watson, knock on wood, stay healthy for 5 minutes. He could be a number 1 wide receiver.
Easily.
He might be the number 1 wide receiver.
Yes.
He might be. The Packers fans, everything in between, have been complaining about not having a wide receiver 1 for years now. It's because he's been hurt. It's because he's been down. He's there, and we're seeing it right now. The explosive plays, turning what was just a slant route across the middle, what we've seen in the past, a Dobbs or Wicks or anybody like that, to a touchdown, just like that. That's what Christian Watson can do. He can blow the top off a defense. He can also do some things across the middle. They had him in the backfield. I mean, he's everywhere. So, I mean, we're going to talk more about that. I want to get your opinion on that, Elmer, here when we come back from the break. We're going to hit the break here. We're going to come back. Hour number 2 of Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trade. It's coming at you after this quick commercial break.